that did do well. So, but what we're going to see, I think, this week is that because last week was such a competitive event, since Nadal nor Federer won the event, I think it makes it a lot more competitive here this week.
Leighton Hewitt will hope that in future pundits will be throwing his name in the mix at these major events. That's why he's now hooked up with Tony Roach. They were very positive about his future. They felt as a team they could get him back inside the top 10. That's certainly what he's trying to achieve, but he's a relatively long way off it at the moment, currently ranked 20 in the world, but should be playing his best tennis, you would feel, at 26 years of age. So that's the challenge that faces Hewitt throughout the next couple of seasons at least. But today, standing in his way is Stanislas Wawrinka, a very talented individual, a great shot maker, just 22 years of age, currently ranked just inside the top 50 at 49. This guy's got weapons. He can hurt players, especially in conditions like these.
Well, he likes playing on the fast courts, big ground strokes, and if Hewitt doesn't come out playing well, he can take the game to Hewitt early on.
Conditions this week are relatively quick, a ball traveling through the air speedily, as it did last week in Montreal, and the court very nicely paced as well, so we should see some good tennis. Damian Steiner's here.
Good morning. Wait, just a second. So we're going to play 6 balls, 7 and 9, all lens covers, net device, 2 challenges per set, 1 more in direct, just reminder, and 90 seconds TV changeovers. Okay, so she will do it for us.
And it's Macy's Ladies' Day
Heads.
Today, so we've got some
heads. You want? Now this is the heads. The one is the heads, this is the tails. Okay. Yeah.
I'll receive.
Receive. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
always good if you can differentiate between the two before the coin toss. Damian getting out the double-headed coin, which doesn't help. So after much ado about nothing, first round action between the Swiss number 2 and the Australian number 1. Let's take a closer look where these two fall in the draw. Jürgen Melzer had a good win yesterday against Ivo Karlovic, the 6'10" Croat. The Austrian through to the second round. He'll play either Haas or Ancic in the second round, and the winner of this one will play Richard Gasquet, who needs a good tournament here to continue his fine form this season, having lost disappointing early in Montreal.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Western Southern Financial Group Masters. This $2.45 million tournament.
So the conditions here absolutely perfect. Not having to worry about the sun or the humidity. Those are the two enemies, really, this tournament, this part of the world, this time of the year. So the players will be delighted with the fact that it's just that little bit cooler today. Swiss number 2 was born in Lucin and is 6 foot tall, 175 pounds. He is an excellent athlete, very quick around the court. Just the one singles title to his name, that was one in 2006 in Umag on the clay. Possibly his best surface, but he is adaptable.
Yeah, I think that's the good thing. You know, obviously he can play on the clay. In fact, his first Masters Series event, 2005, only a couple of years ago, was on the clay in Rome. But I think he's learned how to play and feel comfortable on the hard courts. We've seen how he plays on these types of surfaces. Unfortunately for him, maybe one of the reasons that ranking hasn't gone higher this year, in February of this year, he had knee problems. He had to have knee surgery. He was out for 3 months. And to be able to come back from that kind of injury this quickly puts a lot of pressure on a player like that.
Especially playing on hard courts. Very tough on the body. Tim Henman was mentioning yesterday the fact that he's still struggling with his back injury, and he feels one of the reasons for it is because he's played so much tennis on a hard court. It really does take it out on the body. So we'll have to keep an eye on Wawrinka's movement throughout the course of the match as he attempts to build up his record in these Masters Series events. Hewitt, of course, has achieved so much in the game. Born in Adelaide, still lives there. He's only 5'11", 170 pounds, but of course makes up for in speed what he lacks in terms of size around the court. Two-time Grand Slam champion, perhaps surprisingly, only a two-time Masters Series champion as well. Given how good a player he is and has been, perhaps surprising that he hasn't added to that tally.
And he hasn't won a Masters Series event since all the way back in 2002. His results were good on the hard courts back in those early days in Masters Series. But for me right now, I think it's a resurgent Lleyton Hewitt. And when I saw him play in Rome earlier during the year and he lost to Oscar Hernandez, the qualifier, in the first round, I'm thinking, you know what? Hewitt is really on the way out. You know, he loses to someone like that, should have won the match, didn't play particularly well, didn't have that Hewitt fire that we're so used to seeing from him. But I was wrong, because the following week, well, a semifinal in Hamburg on clay and having a great chance against Nadal to end Nadal's streak. And that's why we're starting to see the confidence come back, and he's taking that result and he's carrying it into these hard courts, to this hard court season.
And I think also the fact that he's just hooked up with Tony Roach means that he will feel now slightly more positive about the future as well. It's always nice to have somebody to bounce ideas off. It's always nice to have somebody that will give you feedback. But even more than that, it's nice to have somebody as good as Tony Roach, as experienced as the Australian is, who believes in you.
Well, we know about the resume of Tony Roach, and obviously Hewitt did pretty well with Roger Rashid there for a few years, but then it wasn't working. And so he's maybe gone up a level in terms of experience and a guy who's been out there, who's achieved.
So this is the first meeting between the two, so no head-to-head record to draw upon to try and garner clues as to who might have the advantage out there. Bookies have Hewitt as the slight favourite, and perhaps understandably so, given that he's had a much more consistent season than his opponent.
This match will use electronic review as an officiating aid.
Got the big guns out early doors today in terms of the officials. Damian Steiner, for my money, right up there in the top 3 umpires in the world. Keeps a relatively low profile, but never afraid to overrule, never afraid to make tough decisions, even though we do have the official review system in action on centre court here. Let's talk tactics. Do you see Hewitt trying to change his game whilst working with Tony Roach in an effort to get his ranking a little higher? Does he need to be a little more aggressive, perhaps?
I think what he needs to do is he needs to be able to go out there and know that he can stay out there all day long, because when we've seen Hewitt play well throughout the season, it's been because it's been like old Hewitt. Tenacious, moving well, and not missing balls.
It was interesting, I was reading an article or a few quotes attributed to Tony Roach, and he was saying the areas that he would like to see Hewitt improve in are the serve,
First
get a few more
percentage.
cheap points with the first serve, get a few more first serves in, quality of the second serve, and also the ability to use the slice backhand a little bit more, throw that in the mix from the back of the court, both tactically and also when he's under pressure as a necessity, and also the ability to come into the net a little more frequently, just to mix things up.
Yeah, well, it's always good to have variety. I remember Hewitt back in 2000 when he first made his real move to the top. He's one of those guys who hit the good two-handed backhand from the back, but could go to the one-handed slice, and he's able to hit that ball really well. And it's good because you break up the rhythm of your opponents. Anybody that can do that today seems to have pretty good success.
Wawrinka and his team will have come up with a good game plan coming into this match. Hewitt's strengths and weaknesses well known, but you've got to be able to implement that game plan once you get out there on the court. That's the difficult thing. So the first match of the day here on day 2 pits the Swiss number 2 against the Australian number 1. Be a nice contrast in styles to admire. Hewitt looking to be as consistent as possible from the back of the court. Wawrinka, a terrific shot maker when playing well.
Ready, play.
Best of 3 tie-break sets.
50 left.
Nicely done.
15, that's it.
Well, right away you see Hewitt trying to move Wawrinka from the back of the court. Wawrinka had the knee problem, had knee surgery earlier in the year, suffered ligament damage while practicing, and always that becomes a very psychological situation even if the knee is healed.
That's it.
Wawrinka has a lot of power and can pull off shots from both forehand and backhand. To be able to hit the ball right by Hewitt when he's on the baseline, that's not easy to do.
Ball, please. Thank you.
He hits what we call a heavy ball.
That's good tennis.
40, 30.
Good all-court tennis. And both the forehand, backhand using it well, and then coming in to end the point. You notice that he keeps moving forward on that volley, doesn't let the volley play him, he goes after it.
Game, Wawrinka.
It's a nice variation too on serve.
Third game.
Can generate a lot of pace when choosing to flatten it out, but can also generate a lot of spin, as he did in that last serve, looking to outmaneuver the opposition. Very important in conditions like these to be positive, be aggressive. Good comment you made there on the volley. Going to the ball, not letting it play you. When you get a little tense, a little nervous in conditions like these, then the balls can tend to fly, and that's when you get in trouble. So these players will be looking to build up their confidence by being aggressive, by being able to implement their own game plans.
Late on Hewitt. Love 15.
Hewitt's relationship with Roach will be a part-time affair. Tony won't be travelling all the time, but mostly to the majors, and I'm sure they'll be chatting a lot on the phone.
Love 30. 15-14.
Early troubles for Hewitt because Wawrinka is stepping in and penetrating. He's putting Hewitt on the defense. Hewitt hoping to get some unforced errors from the Swiss, but to start off with, Wawrinka has been very consistent.
Game, Wawrinka. Wawrinka leads 2-0.
Great start for Wawrinka. Obviously Hewitt playing so well last week, defeating Ferrero in the first match, getting the walk over James Blake with the muscle injury, and then coming back from 2 match points against Dominic Herbati. Wawrinka doing exactly what he needs to do against a man who's ranked higher, coming in with confidence.
Hewitt is challenging the ball on the right service line. Ball was called good.
Well, Hewitt making a challenge here right away, thinking that that ball was long. It was called good by both the linesperson and chair umpire, and a good call by Hewitt.
Ball overturned.
So he gets to see a second ball now.
Love 15.
And that's where Wawrinka has to be careful. Even though he's got the great backhand, he doesn't have to play the balls that close to the line, particularly with this 2-love lead. You know, he doesn't want to give free points away to Hewitt and let him right back in.
Now, that is the one area of his game that sometimes lets him down. Can't quite rein it in.
Well, no problems with the footwork here or the movement from Wawrinka, who did not play a match between the end of the Australian Open and Rome. So he missed a lot of action because of the knee. Now today it seems like he's playing with quite a bit of confidence. The movement has been solid to start the match off with.
That's all.
And he's striking the ball really cleanly.
That's a 4-2.
So an opportunity for Hewitt. Get right back in this opening set.
Yes.
You may see Hewitt challenge this one, that one right near the back of the baseline.
Advantage Hewitt.
Set the point up beautifully.
Comes in behind Hewitt and then reads the pass. Just comes down too quickly with that backhand. Instead of going out and reaching it, the racket head comes straight down. Those are the kind of shots you cannot miss against someone particularly like Hewitt. You work so hard for your opportunity.
Well, that one looks slap bang on the line from where we're sitting, which is directly above it.
Yeah, it looks wide for me as well.
Oh.
Hewitt is challenging the ball. The left near. Ball was caught.
I think he's going to like this result because we're above that line.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe the umpire, Damien, usually very good. He said he thought the ball looked out, but it was nowhere near. Terrific return.
Huh? Also the same time.
You know, the unfortunate thing, though, is that Wawrinka just tried to get his racket on the ball and couldn't have gotten that point. So that's bad luck for Hewitt.
Yeah, that's what he's complaining about. He feels the return was good enough to have drawn the error without the call making a difference to Wawrinka's shot. Good response. A typical one from the Australian. Having had his own serve broken in to make a few too many unforced errors. And Hewitt will be confident, I think, of making enough balls from the back of the court to be able to get the job done, even if he doesn't play his best tennis.
Yes, please, quickly, thank you.
You know, for Wawrinka, a lot to deal with psychologically. He got off to the kind of start he would have wanted, but then not able to hold his serve, and you know that's still in the back of his mind, playing that poor last game.
Risky shots. Go up the line, the high part of the net. Hewitt will be happy to allow Wawrinka to continue to do just that. One of the problems Hewitt had last week against Federer was the fact that he didn't make enough first serves. The percentage was languishing below 50% throughout the course of the match that he lost against the top seed. And that usually is an area of his game that he struggles in. So we'll keep an eye on that percentage throughout the course of this one. It's currently good.
Yeah, Hewitt.
56%. So Hewitt will feel now that he's settled into the match nicely. 2 apiece. Looks quite an expansive centre court on TV, but actually, when you're here in person, it's a lot more intimate than it looks.
50.
Unforced error is really starting to hurt this guy now. Almost twice as many as Hewitt. Only the 5th game.
That's first.
That's good tactic.
30-15.
He's the guy who's going to be taking the risk today. So the match really lies on his racket.
So I guess we've got to look not only at just the unforced errors, but the amount of winners that both players hit as well, and the ratio between those two things. That's what's important. Beautifully done.
40-15.
Well, I think Wawrinka can do a lot of damage with the backhand because he can go cross court and up the line equally well, where he changes direction, gets that racket nice and low to come over the ball. And that is not an easy shot, but the preparation was perfect.
Wawrinka. Wawrinka leads.
This court. It's never quite the same until you get involved in your first match. That's the change of pace that can take opponents by surprise. Hitting through that one rather than up the back of it. Trying to create just a little more pace.
Created a lot, 94 miles per hour.
That's the danger in trying to change direction on the ball.
3 games.
The other danger too is, does Wawrinka really believe that he can out-rally Hewitt from the back of the court? Not too many players can.
Especially when you're trading backhands like that. Undoubtedly Hewitt's most consistent ground stroke. Forehand can do a bit more damage, but can be a little wayward perhaps at times. 3-all.
Allow 15. Allow 30.
So under pressure once more. This a very big point.
Well, the problem for Wawrinka is that he's making far more unforced errors than the winners. We know he's going for them, but 15 early on, and Hewitt's just happy just to put the ball right back in the court.
And it's the backhand in particular that's hurting him. Of those 15, 11 have come off that particular wing. Break point. And again, it's that shot that Hewitt pinpoints and gets the reward he was looking for. Yet another unforced. 2 games away from wrapping up this opening set. A break of serve to the good and hitting the ball pretty cleanly from the back of the court as well.
Allow 15.
It's not bad. $1.22. As long as he can get enough of those in on the big points, I'll be pleased.
Hewitt doesn't want to get too tentative, though. It's finding that happy balance. Because once you get too tentative, then even against Wawrinka, if you hit the ball too short, he's probably not going to make the same kind of errors.
Up. 40, that's it.
Looked a little tight.
Silent Wawrinka setting the ball on the left far. Ball was called out.
It's worth a challenge, I think, especially at this stage in this opening set. Very important point. Yeah, just got a little bit of the line.
Ball overturned. Replay one.
Only just, so a good challenge. And Hewitt with more work to do in order to hold serve.
Yeah, Hewitt. Hewitt leads 5-9.
It's always important to try and keep the missus happy. Seems to be doing a pretty good job of that so far today. Game away from wrapping up the opening set.
I love the way he just keeps it nice and simple. He doesn't do anything too much. Realizes his opponent is the one who's taking all the chances.
I thought you were going to say you love his wife.
Well, there's nothing wrong with her either.
Shame.
15 off.
You know, this almost just a really nice practice session for Hewitt at this point in time, because Wawrinka playing into his hand, got a little bit overconfident on that drop shot. Didn't keep his focus.
That's enough.
Nice changer, both on the serve and in terms of the tactics too. Looking to serve and volley a little bit.
No surprise really there. We know Wawrinka's going to be going for a lot more. Hewitt just trying to play consistent. Normally Hewitt's going to make this play. Has to go to one hand though, doesn't get there quite quickly enough. Wawrinka Wawrinka, you saw out of position, having to lunge for that volley. Did pretty well with it.
Game, Wawrinka.
Good stuff. Hewitt will be pretty pleased, I think, with the way this first set's panned out so far. After a shaky start. On 5 of the last 7 games. And posting some pretty good numbers too in all departments. It's one of his favourite serves, that little slider. If he doesn't win the point outright with it, as he did there, it opens up the court nicely for the groundies.
No, good shot making from the back of the court, getting Hewitt out of position. And this forehand struck with some heavy authority. Obviously, Hewitt still moves very well. You come in and you get plays like this, you got to put the ball away. That's exactly what he does.
Big point. Hewitt was in charge early on. Not able to exert enough pressure to draw the error.
Also, 30 love in this game has gotten very tentative.
Wawrinka with an opportunity now. Draw level.
Well, I don't know if that was a bad bounce from the court or if it was just poor movement. Remember, Wawrinka missed 3 months because of knee surgery. Didn't play Indian Wells, Miami, or Monte Carlo, and didn't do well in running for that ball.
Now, certainly looked a little labored, didn't it? Very surprising. Does take a long while to build up the confidence.
Yeah, following that knee surgery, talking about confidence, he won only 1 match in his next 8 events.
Yeah, that hurts.
And you sense that Wawrinka doesn't want to stay in those rallies with Hewitt.
So after 41 minutes, Hewitt at set point.
Yes.
It's been a little bit of a mixed bag, really, from both. Some good shots, but too many unforced errors. Both a little edgy. Often first-round encounters in big tournaments are just like that, because they haven't quite been able to play themselves into form as yet, build up their confidence. That's why the best players tend to play a lot better as the tournament goes on.
Advantage to Wawrinka.
Another chance for the Swiss to break for a second time, draw level. I don't like that call. He's had a couple of tight decisions on that particular line. I'm not sure whether it's the same lines person or not, but both of them looked pretty good. Good job we do have the official review system in place.
Not only because it gives you the right call, but players let those things get in their minds when they think they were robbed from a call. At least now you get to a level playing field and you don't have that type of excuse or that type of worry.
Yeah, both times it's happened to Hewitt on game point, so they've been important. In the end, it didn't really matter because it was yet another poor backhand.
3 missed backhands from set point. So unusual to see that from Hewitt. Normally the Rock of Gibraltar from that side of the court.
So Wawrinka allowed to get back in the set, really. Can he make the most of this second chance?
Players are ready, thank you. Last 15.
Been a lot of close games in this one. Both have struggled to dominate on serve as well as they would have wanted to. So many errors, particularly the backhand. That's the shot that's really hurt his chances. 15 out of a total of 20 have come off that particular wing.
And every time that Wawrinka gets an opportunity in this set, then the errors just come right back into his game. Lets Hewitt believe he can just win the set by getting the ball in the court.
Yeah, Hewitt. Hewitt leads 6 games.
Well, a whole host of unforced errors there from the Swiss mean that Hewitt now has an opportunity.
Jason, I'm sure you saw the match in Wimbledon where Hewitt in that 4th round against Djokovic had so many chances where he'd be serving for sets or getting breaks and not being able to capitalize. This reminds me a little bit of it. I think the result will be different today, but that can set bad precedents.
Whoa. Head came up.
30-15.
And he really is having a lot of problems with that particular shot. That'll be top of the things to do list for the coach to work on after the match. Get the good old hopper out. Just chasing the ball toss a little bit, getting called for a foot fault.
Amazing. Realizing Wawrinka's having trouble with the backhand, he's just trying to put the ball over to that side. It's funny when you have to try to change your own game plan. Sometimes that's when you make the errors.
Another big point, 30-all.
Grace under pressure from the Aussie.
14-13.
It was much better play, didn't try and do too much with it, but yeah, was aggressive enough to get the job done, so chance here to wrap this set up. loves those little angles, and he constructed that last point perfectly. Had to work hard in order to win the set, but does so eventually. To 53 minutes. 7. I think both players will be looking to try and improve upon the performance in that opening set. Hewitt in particular will be a little disgruntled with not necessarily the total of unforced errors, but just when they came. Just got a little tense towards the end of the set. He'll be looking to improve the quality of the serve and just to be a little more solid from the back of the court, I think. For Wawrinka, of course, it's all about cutting out the unforced errors. Simple as that. Also trying to maintain that aggressive game plan. Easier said than done sometimes. So this is a much better game.
Wawrinka.
Much better service game from the Swiss.
Game,
got the balance right. And he leads 1-love.
Well, even though he leads 1-love, Hewitt has been the one who's been pretty much in control, and one of the reasons is because of his tactics that he's employing. He's really loading up on Wawrinka's backhand. Look at those balls on the left side. Some are short, some are deep. He's mixing it up, but he has a very, very accurate plan, and he's sticking to it.
And it's working well so far. Wawrinka, out of a total of 26 unforced errors, has made 18 of them off that particular wing. So Hewitt tactically spot on so far from the back of the court.
Allow 15. Oh. 15 off. Thirty, 15.
First of the day.
Oh. 14.
Yeah, he's such a smart player. He obviously knows where Wawrinka's struggling from. And Hewitt just continuing to saturate that side, not changing a winning game, sticking with success.
That's what you've got to do against the best players in the world. Take advantage of any looks you get at their second serve, and that's a good tactic to use. Take the ball as early as you possibly can and come in behind it, so that even if Hewitt did manage to get the ball back in play, Wawrinka would have found himself in a very strong position at the net.
Game, Hewitt. Wawrinka.
One all.
15.
It's had a pretty poor season so far. Just the one final to boast of in Stuttgart. Lost to Nadal in the final there in straight sets, 6-4, 7-5, but did have leads in both. But that apart, it's been a pretty poor year.
But you have to remember, he had some serious surgery. When you have your knee operated on, and to even come back during that same season, that says a lot. Some people throw that year completely out the window.
And you can see, I think, that it's not fully healed. Certainly not got as much confidence in it as he would want, but it's getting there.
14.
When you've got the pace and the accuracy, lethal combination.
Yeah, Wawrinka. Wawrinka leads 2 games to 1.
So both players holding serve relatively comfortably at the beginning of the second set. 2-1. Well, Leighton Hewitt will be delighted that they're playing a little Eye of the Tiger in the background, his favourite song. Rocky, his favourite movie. Won't hold that against him. On serve, early doors, second set, 1-2. First round action from the 7th Masters Series event of the year.
15. Game, Hewitt. New balls, please. 2 games.
It does look an immense stadium, this one, but when you're down there courtside, got a good view from each and every one of the seats, and it's not too big. It's a nice size. 2-all.
15.
Just got to keep hanging on in there, really. Taking care of business on their own serve. Exactly what you need to do against the best in the world, and then hope that you get a chance. Make some inroads when your opponent's serving.
14.
Understandably didn't like that one. It's a pretty routine shot for him. For it to end up halfway up the net, pretty disappointing. Gets an A for effort, but an E for attainment. Sounds like your school report, Doug.
Yeah. How'd you know what I got in school? You know, Wawrinka, if he loses this game, he's going to look back to that easy shot that he misplayed.
And they played that last point well.
Come in.
Some pretty good tennis for the fans to enjoy throughout the course of the day, both here on centre court and over on grandstand, and a couple of other match courts as well in action today over on court 3 and court 4. Plus all the big boys are out there on the practice courts as well, so fascinating stuff for all concerned. 2-3. Well, this is another important point. Wawrinka doing so well to hit such a good quality shot off a decent length ball from Hewitt.
Well, you think right now is when Wawrinka's really got to rise to the occasion, because he has a chance to get right back in the match. Yeah, that's not going to get it done. Cheap error. Has a second ball. Look. Obviously down a set. Got to go at Hewitt right now. Running out of time. Big serve under pressure. So he's leveled matters. And even though he's only serving at 50% first serves, barely over 50 for the match, he's done very well when that first one's gone in. The second set, Hewitt has only lost 1 point. off the first serve. So he's keeping the pressure on Wawrinka. And now Wawrinka under the gun. Hewitt rarely missing any returns in this match.
Well, we know Hewitt's got one of the best backhand lobs in the business, but just not able to get enough air there. Some good athletic movement from Wawrinka. That's what delighted him most. Putting those knees under a little bit of additional pressure.
First. First.
A shame. Almost got himself hung, drawn and quartered on the cameraman there.
Yeah, he did well to reach this ball, but then after he gets there, he actually runs into the camera, just out of your picture. He was shaking his hand afterwards.
That's what you call a close-up. No damage done.
Did good to make the distance on that return. Just didn't have the necessary touch and feel when he got there. A little bit questionable on the movement. Just had to open up the racket face a little. He gets there, but doesn't have, well, the soft hands, the finesse needed to guide that just over the net.
Oh, nicely done. Sneaking that ball up the line. Wawrinka, I think, expecting either the lob or the cross-court dink. But this is a good tactic to use. Look at the movement of Wawrinka coming up the middle of the court. You've got to follow the line of the ball. That was his error, and it allowed Hewitt the gap to hit into. So a half chance here for the Australian. Snuffed out.
And that's a lot of pressure because obviously losing that first set, being faced with a critical point on his own serve, to come up with this kind of forehand, got to compliment him.
Didn't have a lot of pace to play with either. That forehand has worked well, much better than the backhand.
And the other difficult thing is he knows most of these returns are coming back in play. He's not getting the free points.
Well, that was an important game to eventually win.
4 games.
Good positive response, and he's hanging on in there. Still no breaks of serve.
Ever wonder if you can serve as
4-3.
fast as the pros?
Looking in fine form. this second set now nicely poised. No breaks as yet. 3-4 Hewitt with the opening set.
Allow 15.
Got to be careful.
Really surprised he's not coming into the net more. He's been on to the net 6 times in the match. When you get your opponent out of position and you volley as well as Hewitt, you would think he'd want to come in more.
Oh yes, superb shot.
Well, he did try coming in, but the pass was really too good. And even though it was just a slice backhand, Hewitt not close enough to the net. And that was pretty perfect.
Golden opportunity here.
These are the first break points for either player in the second set.
One of his best games to date. In the first set, he did struggle with getting the balance right between doing enough with the ball to win points outright and to also draw errors from his opponent and making too many unforced errors. But in the second set, he's done a much better job. 12 winners compared to just 8 unforced errors, and only 3 on that backhand compared to 17 that he made in the opening set. So he really has tidied up his game beautifully. And now he's got an opportunity to serve out the set.
That's what I'm talking about, getting in there and using your hands when they're that good. Wawrinka is hitting the backhand much better. You alluded to that. So what does Hewitt have to do? He's got to come in and volley. He's been successful 6 of 8. He's got to put the pressure on Wawrinka to make him get past. Just don't think he utilizes that phase of his game enough.
It's amazing, really, that Wawrinka was able to win that point so cheaply. Most unexpected amount of errors that Hewitt's made today on relatively simple shots.
Throughout most of this match, Hewitt's been able to return almost everything, but in this game, now missing 2. Wawrinka has really tightened his game up. You have to give him credit for responding.
Brilliant. Great footwork, good balance, a nice target.
Well, now it's Wawrinka who's got Hewitt doing all the running, and that forehand has been clicking. He's getting lots of confidence. He's rotating the ball from side to side. Finds himself in a great position now.
Set point.
40.
Chance to make amends here.
Okay, second set, Wawrinka.
Wrapping up the set with a flourish.
6 games to play.
Hewitt to hit back after the loss of that second set, but if Wawrinka can keep up good play, then he's going to be tough to beat.
I think that's the big question. It's really on the racket of Wawrinka, because you know he's going to be going for it. And the way he played that last game, hitting those big forehands and big serves, really neutralized Hewitt's return. So if he can keep up that kind of play, no reason why he can't win the match.
I think that's probably been the one thing that has hurt Hewitt most throughout the course of his career, when he's played the very best in the world. And of course he was for a couple of seasons, but since then he hasn't been in control of his own destiny. The best players in the world have been able to go through him and beat him. He hasn't really had the firepower to be able to hurt them.
Yeah, and even against Federer last week, he did play with quite a bit of emotion. He was hitting some big shots, but just not good enough to threaten Federer.
Rather than the Swiss #1, it's the Swiss #2, his foe this afternoon. And he'll be hoping that he can make the necessary adjustments in this deciding set, get the better of him. Still all to play for. At stake,
Finals.
a place in the second round of the Western and
Final
Southern
seventh.
Financial Group
Hewitt.
Masters.
You know, he tried to delay the approach, and he just didn't get in quick enough. That was smart by Wawrinka. He just dropped the ball at the feet of Hewitt. Hewitt now has been the net 9 times, successful 6 of 9. One point though during the match he was 5 for 5.
50. 40-15.
I guess one of the things that Hewitt's going to try and do in this third set is break that backhand down again.
Like he did in the first set, and he's trying to stay a little bit more aggressive also, because if he doesn't come forward and get aggressive, well, he's allowing Wawrinka to take the play to him.
Game, Hewitt. First game, final set.
Got the advantage of serving first. You would expect that that wealth of experience that Hewitt has to draw upon will count for something in this deciding set.
I think it's going to count for a lot, because he's played some great matches here in Cincinnati in the past. 2002, 2004, he was a finalist. He's never won, but obviously very much at home on this surface.
And it's interesting too, many people think Hewitt is a consistent baseliner, and therefore he would prefer to play on slower courts, but not the case.
No, he likes to take the ball early. He likes to jam you. He likes to move you all around the court. I think the quicker the court is, actually, it plays into his hand much better.
He has complained over the years that the court at the Australian Open in Melbourne, the show court there, isn't quick enough.
Trying them to get to change it to make it a little faster for him.
Changes afoot for the Australian Open for next season. The court will be a slightly different surface, very similar to the courts here, and Hewitt will be hoping that they will be a little quicker. Tony Roach was talking about the fact that winning the Australian Open, a very big priority for him and Leighton the next few years.
It's always been a huge amount of pressure on his shoulder, somewhat like what Hemman feels playing at Wimbledon. You know, we talked about Hewitt liking the quick surfaces. Obviously, when he won Wimbledon, Wimbledon was playing much quicker then, even though it was grass. And when he's played a lot of Davis Cup matches, they've chosen to go on grass for him for those reasons.
US Open too, when he won that back in the day. It isn't a slow court, so his best results, I think, have come when the court is medium to fast.
Yeah, he didn't beat a bad fast court player when he beat Sampras.
Beat him was an understatement. Duffed him up that day. Chance here to get on top early on in this third set. See what he can do here as he tries to improve breakpoint conversion rate. And he does just that, but he was gifted the point, really. Poor play from Wawrinka. And the Swiss #2 now with a mountain to climb.
15 love.
It's so important in conditions like these to stay on top of the rally. Once you gain the upper hand initially, it's exactly what Hewitt was able to do there with that 1-2 punch.
Wawrinka is challenging the ball on the left base. Ball was caught.
Let's see what the official review has to say. Just deep.
Ball stands 4-2. Wawrinka has one challenge remaining.
It's now or never. Cannot afford to give Hewitt a big lead in this deciding set. He's a very good front runner. Time's running out.
Minutes first.
I think you made an excellent point, Doug. At the end of the second set, I think Hewitt has done a good job of playing that backhand into form, perhaps overdoing it slightly because Wawrinka, his consistency of that particular wing has improved dramatically.
That's a problem with playing someone's weakness. It can improve dramatically during a match. And then you have to change your tactics because that weakness can become a strength. I like him coming in on the big points.
Advantage Hewitt.
Didn't have to do a lot to get there. Just took the short ball, kept Wawrinka back, anticipated where the pass was going. Just takes that ball nice and early. Good firm wrist.
Game, Hewitt.
Well, But he knows the importance of holding serve there. And so does she.
Hewitt leads 3 games to love. Time.
It's very easy sometimes when you find yourself 3-love up in the third to just relax a little bit. Think that you've done the hard work and that the victory is pretty much complete, but it's not the case at any level, especially here, best in the world. Just the one break.
Love 15.
Real problem in this set for Wawrinka. He's only won 33% of his first serves when they've gone in. And that's why he suffered that early break. Hewitt looking for one more.
Ladies. 15.
Well, I had to play let here. Ball came out of Wawrinka's pocket. It happened last week too in Montreal. Now, they play a let the first time that happens, but if it happens again, then he will lose the point. So got to be careful. It's best to have deep pockets and short arms, like you, Doug.
No, I've got short pockets and long arms. You forgot.
I've never experienced that.
I don't mind the shot. It was just the intent, the execution just didn't stay on it long enough. He's got Wawrinka well out of position. It's the right time to play the drop shot, but just play it a little bit safer. Give yourself a little bit more clearance. He knows.
That's all.
Well, Hewitt's done a good job in this third set, supported by his Australian Davis Cup teammate on the right of the picture there, in the yellow t-shirt, Paul Hanley, finalist in the doubles last week in Montreal with Kevin Ulliott. Getting ready for more doubles action again here this week. shame.
News.
That's what we want to see. I think both players playing well at the same time on the important points, both wary of the fact that they couldn't afford to make an error. Wawrinka hesitating midway through that rally. I thought he was going to sneak in at one stage. Didn't do so. Still having to work hard here.
Advantage, Wawrinka.
That'll help. First ace in this deciding set out of a total of 8.
Wawrinka. New balls, please.
Full marks to the Swiss. It was a game he simply had to win.
Hewitt leads 3 games.
And he played the break point well.
Very consistent during that point. And they were exchanging blows. You sort of felt like that was the shot or the point that Hewitt could have put the dagger into his opponent. But as you said, Wawrinka responded very positively. Obviously had to have that game so he didn't go down a double break. Now he's got to be thinking in a more positive fashion. He's still just down the 1 break of serves. He's broken Hewitt's serve during the encounter, so he knows he can get back in the match.
Fresh weapon of choice for Wawrinka. Get a little bit of extra control on the ball. The restring will be slightly tighter than the one that he's just used for the last few games.
Fifteen off.
Really constructing the point nicely, moving Wawrinka all over the court, side to side, and then electing when the ball's short enough to come forward, hitting his favorite inside-out forehand. Wawrinka still struggling moving when he's having to cover that much court. Maybe the wrong choice here from Hewitt. If he just hits that backhand right up the line, he's got control of the point.
Yeah, I think the problem was he just got stuck a little bit, didn't he, with the movement. It was falling back, so it was tough for him to play aggressively. And he usually does have quite good hands in the forecourt, but he hasn't hit that shot particularly well in this match so far.
And second.
That's a terrific shot.
Yeah, I think Hewitt just let Wawrinka back in that point. Early on, he had control but didn't want to come forward, and then starts to play defensive tennis, and Wawrinka is now going for his shots, feeling confidently. This game is picked up.
30, 40.
Hewitt wanted confirmation from his camp that the ball was deep. It certainly was. And Wawrinka here with a chance to get right back into the match. Hewitt only serving at 44% in this deciding set. Only made 8 of 18 first serves so far. In desperate need of one here. Disastrous end to the game. Wawrinka is right back in the match now. And the Australian looking a little fallible after a strong second set from Wawrinka. Got to make sure that he doesn't dwell upon the fact that he has squandered a 3-love lead. Two, three.
So difficult for Hewitt to remain in the present because he's got to be thinking 3-love, break point for 4-love. Had a chance to put the nail in the coffin and didn't.
40.
Sometimes when you find yourself in situations like that, you feel you've got nothing to lose, and I'm sure that's what's happened to Wawrinka here. It takes a little bit of pressure off sometimes. It allows you to open your shoulders, start to play a bit more freely. What's going to be key is if Wawrinka gets back on level terms, to still have that attitude. It's not easy.
It's all about expectation.
Wawrinka.
You let go of the expectation, start to play normal tennis.
3 games.
But now the mindset's different. Once again, the belief, I can win the match.
And that makes a world of difference. The body language is good. Still all to play for. Hewitt here needs to stop the rot, having lost the last 3 games.
Allow 15.
How quickly a match can change. You see it time and time again. Hewitt just not taking advantage of the opportunities. And now he is up against the wall.
Well, this is turning into a nightmare for Hewitt. What a chance for Wawrinka.
That's really what's hurt Hewitt in this set. Not enough first serves. Only getting 43% of them in the court. And when you're ahead 3-love, you got to take advantage. You can't miss first serves. You can't allow your opponent to get a look at second balls to get back into the match.
And he really has struggled, not only with the first serve percentage, but points won on second serve. Only 5 of 13 so far.
Mr. Wawrinka is challenging the call on a right far sideline. Ball was called.
Now Wawrinka feels that he was hard done by not getting a call in that first serve. Let's see what the official review says.
Stands 30-40. Wawrinka has no more challenges remaining.
So he's in trouble now unless we get to a third set tie break, because he can't make any more challenges. But he still has break point here. Shame. You could tell it was a big point. Hewitt wasn't going to be the one to take the risk. And you have to say, as far as Wawrinka's concerned, it was the right shot to play. Had to go for it. Better that he did that than missed by being a little more negative.
Played the point well. He had his chance. He took it. That's what you want to do when you're playing someone who's a little bit better than you are. It just comes down to execution.
Missing by a couple of inches, and is that going to be the let-off that allows Hewitt to turn things around here in this third set? 3 break points squandered.
Levitz first. Wawrinka.
Well, again, that was a point very well played by the Swiss, eventually drawing the error.
It was incredible because his last forehand barely caught the line and Hewitt's barely missed.
Matches at this level won and lost by the narrowest of margins. And that was a brutal rally. Wawrinka now with a fourth chance to break. Well, that was a very big second serve. It was his favourite. He likes to hit the slider, but you have to be courageous to be able to go for that.
Humongous guts from Hewitt, because we've seen him double at times during this match under pressure. And the one thing he's done well this game, at least down love 40, his serve. The first serve has been a factor, but he had to come up with a huge second there.
Advantage, Hewitt.
Big game to win, and he knows it. And so do they.
Hewitt leads 4 games to 3.
Hewitt into the lead once more, but only just. Marco of Argentina, 6-4, 6-7, 6-3 over Spain's Feliciano Lopez.
Just shows you how difficult these ATP Masters Series events are. Tursunov, just a few weeks ago, a winner in Indianapolis. He's lost first round the last 2 weeks, Montreal and here.
Well, these two know a thing or two about how hard it is to get victories. This one, a very, very tight affair. Hewitt leading 4-3, but we're on serve, third set. Slap bang on the line. The perfect start. Just starting to leak again off that backhand, a shot that he hit so very well, and winning that second set where he only made 3 unforced errors. Back in double figures now. More like it. A little bit of extra room to play with there.
And for me, that's a big difference between these two guys. Wawrinka not scared to take the backhand and go up the line when he's given the spot. Hewitt's had many opportunities where he just continues to go cross court. Doesn't want to go for the backhand up the line. Sometimes risk rewards those who are willing to take it.
These games now very tense.
Yes.
Well, he looked initially good in this game, responding to losing that love 40 game, Hewitt's previous service, but then at 40-15 he throws in his first double of the match and proceeds to get broken down in that long rally. Keeps putting the pressure on Hewitt, though. That's what you want to see him do.
And he's got that balance just about right. First set went for a bit too much, quite timing the ball as well as he would have wanted. Second set, it was spot on, being aggressive but not making the errors, and he's doing just well enough here in the third. The question is, can he keep it up, and can he play the big points as well as he did that last one?
Yeah, Wawrinka. 4 games.
I think he can sense that good opportunity today. Hewitt's definitely beatable.
Well, he's making a lot of unforced errors as this match has gone on. The backhand hasn't been anywhere as good as we've seen it in the past. And for Wawrinka, he wasn't timing the ball particularly well early on. Now he's starting to play with confidence. He looks like he's the better player, the more aggressive of the two from the back of the court. I really like what he's doing right now. I think he's got a great chance. It's just, does he believe he should win the match?
For all. Yeah, nicely done. the perfect time to make the move forward and then executed the volley perfectly.
50 love.
Well, these are big moments, and Hewitt, for a change, becoming the aggressor. That's a great volley. He keeps moving forward to the net, even though he's coming in from the baseline. Look at how the feet keep moving forward. Good length.
15 off.
Wawrinka's really punishing the ball from the back of the court right now off of both sides. And I think what Hewitt has to do is he really has to try to get off of the baseline. This guy's getting into a rhythm.
And it's first.
No, it's brilliant. Great use initially of the slice backhand to open up the court, but again, the shot that you've highlighted, Doug, that backhand up the line, absolutely superb.
Under pressure, he keeps hitting it, and it's amazing as he's playing better, he doesn't seem to have any problems with the knee or the movement like he had early on. It was very sluggish coming out.
Carrying all that additional weight of expectation on his shoulders. Real chance here, 15-30, and a look at a second serve. Can't criticize him for going for the shot. It's one that's worked well. Again, it's going to be all about execution on the big points, but at least he will feel he's in control of his own destiny.
Correction, or good.
It's tight. There's been so many close calls on that particular line, but Damian Steiner very quick to intervene. Wasn't much in it. Oh, what a good call by the umpire. Can only have been a millimetre or two in it.
So surprised if Wawrinka didn't challenge that.
Well, he can't. He's got no challenges
he's gone.
left.
He's gone. I forgot.
Pay attention.
He's gone.
14.
That's the difficulty. If you do challenge a little too frequently early on in the set, and you're not right, it leaves you helpless towards the latter stages of the match.
Challengeless.
Just wants a closer look here. The ball will leave a mark on the court. It did look wide, though, from our vantage point. Same lady.
A lot of pressure on her.
She's earning a lunch coupon today, no question about it. Well wide, though. Good call. Back to Deuce.
Wonderful time for serve and volley. Hasn't done it the entire match.
Advantage Hewitt.
That's what all the good players can do. They can change things up exactly the right time. Brilliant, sensational tennis from both. What a point.
It is Wawrinka who's taking all the chances and really using all the real estate out there. Just hammers this overhead. What a get by Hewitt. He's just having to cover too much of the court. And once again, going up the high part of the net to win the point.
He's taking all the risks, but getting the reward as well. He had to work hard physically there, Hewitt. Under pressure here, Deuce.
Advantage Hewitt.
Again, under pressure, the element of surprise being used perfectly by Hewitt.
Oh, can you believe that?
No, I can't believe it.
That'll test his mental capabilities. Got to regroup here.
Deuce.
Confidence is such an amazing thing. He didn't have much at the beginning of the match. He wasn't timing the ball well, and he was moving around the court very sluggishly. Now with the confidence, the movement is no longer in question. He's striking the ball so well.
Advantage Hewitt.
Again, the backhand letting him down. I don't remember the last time I've seen Hewitt miss so many backhands. Today he's missed 17. And in this set alone, 8. He has not hit a backhand winner in this third set. Reason for concern in the camp. Better.
Advantage Hewitt.
Another very good second serve played there by Hewitt. He's really taking his chances there. It's paying off.
Been some brutal games in this third set. It's been a very well contested match.
Yeah, Hewitt.
Trying to battle exceptionally hard, but he's made a career of doing just that.
Hewitt leads 5 games to 4.
The Australian edging into the lead once more. 5-4.
Typical Leighton Hewitt battle.
Time.
And Wawrinka will be hoping that he can shoulder the additional burden of having to hold serve here to stay in the match. Let's not forget, Hewitt led 3-love here, so Wawrinka's done well. But just flexing that knee, we talked about the surgery that he had earlier in the season and the fact that playing a long, arduous match like this one on a hard court will take its toll. They've been on court now for over 2.5 hours. And the opponents don't come much tougher than the Australians. So this has been a severe test of Wawrinka's capabilities.
Thank you.
4-5.
Good wide serve, opens up the court. It allows Wawrinka to go pretty much wherever he wants. Could go backhand or forehand. Going behind Hewitt has worked quite well today.
Tense moments in the Wawrinka camp. It's a rather inopportune moment for only his second double fault.
That's it.
Now, a terrific combination of shots. It was a very sneaky slice backhand. That was a gutsy point.
Well, he's played a gutsy match, and he hasn't changed. He's continuing to go for his shots. You're seeing Hewitt having to do an awful lot of defending in these last couple games. There's the sneaky little backhand, changing the pace.
And again, that movement up the court has been so effective for him throughout the course of the match. 30 all. have to be that good.
Just had to be over the net.
And usually he's so very good at playing shots like that. He loves to use those little drop volleys and create angles. Wawrinka was nowhere near that ball.
And he stopped right here. He just dropped the racket head rather than continuing to go out and just open it up just a little bit. He would have laid it right over the net if he would have done that. Maybe a little bit of tension. A lot of tension.
That's more like it.
Wawrinka.
That was a huge response from Wawrinka. Looked a little shaky early on with the double fault. But recovering well from 15-30.
Gotta love the way he's playing, though. He's continuing to attack. That's how he's gotten to this point. Staying with it. He's going to determine the outcome of the match. This is a performance that Federer would be proud of. Seeing this guy use the lines so well. So confident going forward.
He's introduced serve and volley into his game plan quite beautifully in the last couple of service games.
But why wasn't he doing it earlier? Why is he waiting until the pressure situation to do that? Lovely volley. Has so much confidence there. We know he won a US Open doubles title.
And he's had a lot of success, particularly in this deciding set in the forecourt. Won 9 of 12 points so far. Brilliant. Couldn't have hit that one any sweeter. It was straight as a die.
Talk about having to lay the shot in very little space. That was a wonderful backhand. He got there in plenty of time, though. That's why he was able to hit the backhand. He was able to set up where early on he wasn't getting to the shots. Well, both players obviously feeling the tension, no question about it. Same for Beck. Interestingly, went with the Croydon facelift this morning. Back to deuce.
Advantage, Hewitt.
You know, this is what he's been doing the last couple games. He's been bending over and clutching his left knee a little bit. Remember, we talked about the surgery, but it's only in the last couple games that he's actually been looking to favor that side.
2 hours and 42 minutes. He's been run ragged in this match.
Game, Hewitt.
Some big serving just when he needed it most. Delight in the Hewitt camp as he edges into the lead once more. 6-5, third set. Well, there's a lot more fans in the stadium now than there were at the beginning of the match. I think word has got out around the grounds that there's a really good contest going on centre court, and they're anxious to see whether the two-time former finalist here can make it through this first round or whether he'll be upset by the Swiss #2. It's been a fascinating deciding set, and it's been very difficult to choose a winner throughout the course of it. But you'd have to say now Hewitt the slight favourite, given that Wawrinka once more has to hold serve here to stay alive. Five, 6.
15 love.
Number 11 coming at perfect time.
Beautifully done.
Can't play a point any better than that.
30.
Went behind Hewitt on 3 consecutive shots. Hewitt playing wonderful defense, but the ball got shorter and shorter, and it made it that much easier for Wawrinka to eventually put it away.
Proving his play throughout the course of the match. Hewitt been very steady in all 3 sets so far, as you would expect. Oh, yes! At this stage of the match, that's remarkable.
And that's a guy with a bad knee. From one side to the other, Wawrinka just slaps it up the line. Very little room to hit into, but the topspin brings the ball in. Hits around the outside of the ball. Nothing for Hewitt to do except look at it.
Game, Wawrinka.
Possibly his best service game of the
6
set.
games all. Final set, tiebreak.
And that means that he will head into this
Ladies and gentlemen, both players
deciding
receive an extra challenge
tiebreak
for the tiebreak.
with the momentum firmly in his favour.
And remember now, Wawrinka was out of challenges, but because of the tiebreak, he will get 1 challenge added. Hewitt will have 3.
Well, they can both challenge as many times as they want. Those are the amount of mistakes they can make when challenging. Lovell.
1-0.
No mistake there.
Hewitt.
absolutely sensational. And you're absolutely right, Doug. The footwork has been really good. Allowing himself to get set up, to be on balance, so that then he can rotate with the upper body to generate all the pace and spin.
It's the only way you can hit that kind of shot. And how about the knee bend as well?
Just allowing him to get underneath the ball, brush up the back of it to generate all of that topspin. It's a thing of wonder.
Hewitt.
Almost give Wawrinka a second bite at the cherry.
Hewitt.
But that point really demonstrates the difference in these players. When Hewitt has the line open, he continues to go cross-court with the backhand. Wawrinka being willing to take the chance to go up the line.
Hewitt.
Tension evident for all to see. Back on serve. Superb shot. Full marks to Hewitt for trying to force the error, but just didn't quite do enough with the approach.
3-0.
And perhaps now's the time to mix things up a little bit, maybe coming up the middle of the court, not to allow Wawrinka the angle, or perhaps try the forehand.
Yeah, and that approach wasn't good enough. It sat right up. He's been hitting the backhand so cleanly, and he has a lot of confidence on that side.
In stark contrast to how he hit that shot at the beginning of the match, where Hewitt was successful in breaking it down on a regular basis.
But you do see both players becoming more aggressive in this tiebreaker, particularly Hewitt.
And that's what the good players tend to do. Try and look to go out there to win the match as opposed to hoping that the opposition will lose it. Thoroughly enjoyable encounter. Still all to play for. 3-0.
And now Hewitt is challenging the ball on the right base. Ball was called out.
Well, he has to make the challenge, really. He couldn't see whether the ball was in or out. I think the crowd reaction really was such that Hewitt thought that it was a dodgy line call, but it was a good decision. The linesperson.
4-3, Wawrinka.
But worth a challenge.
Absolutely.
Has 2 challenges remaining.
And he made a great guess because that was a big serve, and Wawrinka had the whole court to hit into.
Almost got back into the point. Oh, he's just missed it.
5-4. Hewitt.
Couldn't have been any closer. But again, you have to say that Hewitt deserves the point because he was the one forcing the play. And as the match gets tighter and tighter, it becomes much more difficult to make those passing shots. Hewitt 2 points away. But it would be a shame if this courageous attitude that Wawrinka has had throughout the course of the match would ultimately be his undoing. Hewitt doing just enough to draw the error. And after almost 3 hours of enthralling action, it's the Australian with match point. Oh yeah. Absolutely superb.
This is how you handle pressure.
5.
You just come in, take your time, and keep going forward. Only the third volley of the set for Wawrinka, but he gets down nice and low, opens up the racket face.
Here's the big opportunity. Match point number 2 on serve. Now he's done it.
Hewitt. 2 sets to 1. 7-5, 3-6, 7-6.
Terrific encounter, full of good things, especially in that deciding set. But Hewitt in the end doing just enough on the big points to deserve his victory. The Australian has a very good record here in Cincinnati, and he moves safely through to the second round.
Hewitt did exactly what he needed to do in that third set, particularly in the tiebreak. We saw him getting beaten from the back of the court. I thought it would be important for him to start getting in more, to change that up, and that's exactly what he did, particularly under all those crucial moments of the third set.
Credit has to go to the Swiss number 2. Played his part in a very enjoyable match, and although he looked in some distress towards the latter stages of that third set, let's hope that the knee has held up okay and that he will get back to winning ways at this level very shortly, because he's a very entertaining player and played some great stuff throughout.
Huge hitter, and I mean, for a match that started off so poorly, neither one of the guys being able to find their form. By the end, it was fantastic tennis, and both guys doing what they needed to do. For Hewitt, the one thing that really hurt him, remember, he was up 3-love in that third set, had a break point. After he wasn't able to convert, his serve hurt him. He wasn't able to get enough first serves in, and Wawrinka coming through with so many winners there at the end. 46 in total for the match, but toward the end of the match, so many of them at that stage.
But what I liked from Hewitt's point of view is that he was being hurt by Wawrinka from the back of the court, and he did what all great champions are able to do, fine-tune his game plan. Only came to the net 8 times in the first 2 sets, but 18 times in the decider, and won 12 of those.
12 of 18, and we were saying it from up here, he needed to get in to change the way it was going, and he figured it out on the court.